Hello, I'm Bill LeMay, and thank you for watching Community Matters. We hope you'll continue to watch as we discuss issues facing our community and provide you with the resources and information needed to find solutions. Welcome to Community Matters. Today we're talking about the state of affordable housing in the area and steps being taken to improve it. Joining us to talk about affordable housing in Wake County is Sig Hutchinson, Vice Chair of the Wake County Board of Commissioners. And thank you, sir, for being here. It's good to see you.
Thanks, Bill. It's good to be with you.
Affordable housing is an issue that is talked an awful lot about, but I don't know if people really fully understand it. In Wake County, what is the state of affordable housing?
Well, we're growing. And people are aware we're growing. You know, there's 3,000 counties in the U.S., and of that 3,000 of large counties, we are number 2 in the fastest growing counties in America. We're growing by 67 people a day. And Bill, what that is doing is creating a lot of demand on housing, and prices are going up. And as a result of those prices going up, we're moving out of the affordability space for 56,000 households here in Wake County. So today we have a need for 56,000 affordable housing units. And in the next 20 years, that's going to go up to about 120,000 units. We have, in terms of low-income citizens, we have about 120,000 low-income citizens here in Wake County. And the way that we measure that is called indicator called AMI, or Area Mean Income. All right, for a family of 4, that's about $32,000 a year.
I think there's a stereotype that is attached to that, and wrongfully so. Who are the individuals we're talking about that actually are in need of this kind of housing?
Well, you know, the interesting thing is that a lot of people are not aware that there's a whole continuum around affordable housing. You've got the people on the low end that, you know, are basically people with drug problems or homeless and need supportive housing, all the way up to workforce housing. These are people who are, you know, police, fire, teachers, you know, that need, you know, affordable housing, and we need that affordable housing in places where they work. So the whole continuum of affordability and affordable housing just reaches, you know, close to 30% of our population.
I mean, that's significant. That really, truly
is. It really is, yeah.
I remember how government got involved with affordable housing in the past. And it was like you put a sign on the housing saying this is affordable housing. You know what I'm saying? There was a look, and they were always placed in areas that were, well, the residents didn't find it. That has changed in a big way, hasn't it? Today's affordable housing, much different.
Oh, it is, yes. The housing projects of the 60s and the 70s, we don't do that anymore. In fact, a lot of those have come down. Halifax Court is a great example, and you see Pilot Mill project downtown, which is absolutely beautiful. So one of the things that we're working to do now is when we start thinking about affordable housing, we want to disperse that throughout the community because we love diversity. You know, diversity makes us all better. And so by having a range of incomes throughout the entire county, we solve a whole lot of needs.
Now, are we seeing affordable housing going up not only in the urban part of the county, but also in the suburbs as well, or is it primarily just the cities?
No, we need it everywhere. Yes. Now, obviously, we need more density in downtown, and from density, if we can create a more supply of housing just in general, that can reduce the rise in house prices, house prices, okay, which is good. But we also need it in suburban areas. And Bill, one of the things that's happening is that we're losing a lot of the existing for affordable housing. So we're losing 400 to 500 units a year of houses that were affordable, but those units, say an apartment complex, is being purchased and then it's being upfitted to more market rate housing.
Well, how does this all work, Section 8 housing?
So Section 8 housing is a federal program which is basically a voucher. So we've worked with the private sector to say, here's a voucher, you go to the private sector and offer that voucher, and the government pays for part of that fee. Now, the problem associated with that is there's not enough affordable housing Section 8 vouchers out there. And then the second thing is that there's a lot of landlords that won't take affordable housing Section 8 vouchers because they can get a little bit complicated. Let me give you an example. This past year in Garner, there was an apartment complex called Forest Hills, 138 families. This was one of these naturally occurring affordable housing complex built in the 80s that was purchased by a developer who then was going to upfit it and take it to market rate apartments. Well, he gave these 138 family members 30 days to move out, okay? Now, that's putting 138 families on the street, many of them with Section 8 vouchers. The problem, Bill, is that we just don't have enough capacity in Wake County to absorb 138 families with landlords who will take Section 8 vouchers. So it creates a huge problem for the families and the market with a lack of housing out there that will take Section 8.
So how do you counter that? It would seem you would have to build.
We have done a affordable housing task force, okay, for 12 months. We now have a report that was led by our chair, Jessica Holmes, and there's 4 components of that I think are important. Number one is that we need to put more resources towards affordable housing, and we need to do that as the county, and the cities and municipalities need to do that. Number 2 is the county has land, and so we could possibly put that land up for affordable housing. Number 3 is we need to work with our municipal partners, and municipal partners need to add density and height so that they create more opportunities for affordable housing. And then the 4th thing is that we need to work with the private sector, because as you said, the public sector can't solve this problem. The private sector has to work with us to help build more affordable housing.
From your vantage point, you're looking 20 years down the road, and you have, decisions to make, not today, but what's going to happen 20 years down the road. Where do you see us going in Wake County?
We're a growing area that is prosperous, but as I mentioned, there's 120,000 people that are at or below the poverty line. Now, the problem is that we're dealing with is that salaries are not keeping up. For people without a master's degree, whereas their income over the last 10 years has risen only 10%, housing prices have risen 35%. So we're having populations who are spending, now get this, Bill, up to 50% of their income on housing and 30% of their income on their automobile. So 80% of their entire income are on those two things. So that gives them 20% of their income to basically run a family in a house. So it's a problem. And so we need to do several things. We need to raise salaries, but we also need to work with municipal partners, the private sector, and the county to create more opportunities for affordable housing.
And what can other members of the community do?
Oh, that's a great question. One, to stay involved, but number 2 is start to educate yourself about what affordability and affordable housing is. Remember the continuum. There's a large continuum of people who need supportive housing, or just, we call it a housing first model, all the way up to workforce housing. This is a huge continuum, and for people to understand that affordable housing is important for every part of our community, and diversity truly makes us all better.
Commissioner, what a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Appreciate
Thank you, Bill. It's great to be here with you.
Don't go anywhere, because we'll be joined by the president of KHIC to hear what the organization is doing to improve affordable housing here in the Triangle.